Now it's recorded. Thanks for reminding me. So about the office hours, I will announce them once the registration period is over. Now, during the first 2 weeks, there are a lot of students coming and going all the time, and they need some support for the registration. Therefore, I'm not so strict about the office hours, but after this, I will announce some office hours. And this is an opportunity for you to ask me about the course, to ask about assignments, exam questions of the course, to try to solve some open problems. And in these office hours, I'm available to support you. On the other hand, I'm not so much available outside these office hours if it's not a real emergency. So try to stick to the office hours that I will announce. And then it should be for you more reliable when you come and want to talk to me. And on the other hand, it's also for me more reliable in the way I can organize my time. So last semester, I told you a little bit about some of my hobbies, and I also told you that I like to read books. I think this is a very good way to educate yourself. And it's also a very good way to improve your English skills. So I think this is something that every one of you, everyone at the university should do, try to improve the English skills all the time. For example, by reading newspaper articles, reading articles of international newspapers like Financial Times, but also reading some interesting books. It does not need to be all about university and learning, but just reading some international books will help you train your brain, will help you acquire a new language and become confident in a new language. Who changed the picture to Peaky Blinders, huh? I think it just changed now. One of you changed the pictures to the guy from Peaky Blinders. Very good. Thumbs up. So I wanted to tell you about 2 books, or how do I read these books? Usually I just try to read every day 10 pages. I try to build a habit of reading every day 10 pages outside my university job. And this year, just yesterday, I finished this book, So Good They Can't Ignore You, from Cal Newport. I found this book very, very interesting because it gives some career advice. And because you are at the beginning of your careers as a student, this might be also interesting for you. I found in particular the first part of the book helpful. So how to choose a career, how to choose a job, how to be good at your job, how to like your job. And when you ask people about this question, you can try it. You are a student, first-year student, just ask other students, some people at companies from your family, what shall I do? And a very common recommendation by these people, I also recommend, was talking in a similar way in the past. Many tell you, follow your passion, do what you like, and then you will become really good. So, and in this book, Cal Newport says, this is very, very bad advice. Follow your passion. Why is it bad advice? Usually people don't know about their true passion. So you are studying logistics. Now, who of you is really, really passionate about logistics? When I started my study program in business administration, of course, I was interested in some topics. I had a higher interest in other topics. I was not interested in all. And definitely, I was not passionate about logistics. It was not that as a teenager, I grow up and say, oh, I want to be in the logistics industry this is really great. Yeah, you're passionate about other things, yeah, but typically not about too many things related to your work stuff. So if you try to follow this advice, follow your passion, and you don't really know what your passion is about, then you will probably make a lot of mistakes. And the problem is also, if you follow this point of view, your attitude is a little bit in the way, what can the world offer to me? And in general, this is not a great attitude. It's much better to ask, what can I offer to the world? What can I offer to my friends? How can I make the life of others better? How can I improve the business of the company? And when you have this attitude, you need to acquire the skills, the qualifications, the knowledge, the methodology to be good in your job. And once you acquire this knowledge and these skills and you become good in your job, automatically more doors will open for you. You will like it more, you will become more independent, you will work on bigger projects, you will get more responsibility, and usually having more flexibility in the way you organize your job contributes to that you like the job much better. Though, and of course, this is now similar for your study program. If you wait until you become passionate about financial accounting, about logistics management, about microeconomics, then maybe you have to wait a long time. But if you put in the effort, maybe even though you don't like it, but you force yourself to study the material, to become better, to solve questions and problems independently, then you will become more confident and you will automatically like the subject matter much more, and you will improve. So try to avoid this passion point of view. Try to become as good as possible in the task at hand, and then let it go from there. So this was just a small insight into this book. I felt I need to share it with you because you as first-year students will benefit a lot from this knowledge, and it might help you also during your study program, but also in your future careers. Though another book I was reading, this was a novel, The Midnight Library. This was a nice little book. And this is a fantasy novel about a woman named Nora, and she is very unhappy with her life. And you know, it's a fantasy novel with some magic, etc. happening. And because of these things, she can look into different life choices. So if I had talked to this boy earlier, if I had not canceled my sport career, what would happen with my life? Would it make me more happy? What is really the thing that I like about my life? And in this novel, she explores different paths in her life. It's a fantasy novel, and she finds her true calling and finds out about what makes her happy in her life. Though this is a very nice book, maybe if you have some time, I recommend having a look at this book. I liked it very much. So this course, now when we go back to our lecture again, to the core topic of our lectures, this course is a successor of the logistics management course. And the name of this course is Production Logistics and Transportation Management. The name is a little bit long and not so super convenient, but you already see that we are dealing with production issues and transportation issues and how these issues are connected. If you read the current newspaper, it's unfortunately all about the war in Ukraine with Russia and Putin, but there are also other issues discussed on the more business level, that we still have big disruptions in global supply chains. The supply and demand of different parts is very unbalanced in the moment as a consequence of the COVID pandemic. And you see how decisions in the production area, what to produce, when to produce, how expensive will be production, are heavily affected by the transportation area. So transportation decisions and production decisions are linked together. And if our production system is not working, it will impact our transportation system. On the other hand, if our transportation system is not working properly, it will impact our production system. So in the United States, for example, we are still facing the issue that there are many container ships, many cargo ships outside the ports waiting, and they have to wait until the ports are available to serve these ships. And because of this, the load of the ships stays on the ships for weeks and cannot be used in production processes. Last semester, we read a little bit about case studies about the issue with the Suez Canal, you remember. So, and in this spirit, the course will focus on some production issues, methods and concepts. The course will focus on some issues related to transportation, and we will have a look at how these issues are interconnected in the supply chain. This is what is the course about. And in the end of the day, we try to become better managers of logistics systems, because all these production and transportation systems are working together in a logistics system, and we try to operate such a logistics system at a better level. So as a kind of slightly warming up exercise, I would like to know from you, when you think about logistics systems, what kind of logistics systems come to your mind? So please either open this link or make a picture of this QR code, which should forward you to this link, and answer this question: what type of logistics systems are in your mind? What do you think a logistics system is? Which systems do you already know? I give you some time to move to this link and enter your answers. I think you can give up to 5 different answers. You don't have to give all 5 of them, but just what comes to your mind, write it down, please. Okay, I see already some answers. Very nice. I don't show you the answers right now because I want you to think for yourself and not be influenced by your fellow students too much. Yeah, more answers are coming in. Okay, I will switch to your answers now. I will show you the answers you gave. Now you see some of the answers, or you see all of the answers that you and your fellow students gave. Yeah, you see some are still submitting. And you see already a trend. Yeah. So transportation seems to be a core task, a core system related to transportation. Yeah. Most of you wrote something related to transportation. Yeah, and this is also typical. When you talk about logistics, many people refer to it as transportation problems. Of course, what you always should know, and I told you last semester already, you don't learn to become a truck driver or how to load a truck or something. Yeah? You, as a logistics manager, you should be able to set up a logistics system, to run it smoothly, to make the decisions, to plan, so that logistics tasks are fulfilled at a good level. And one of the main logistics tasks is, of course, related to transportation. Of course, the warehouse also plays a very important role. And you see, we have here also warehouse management system or warehouse management. What else? Warehousing. Yeah, so this warehouse storing goods is one of the big challenges in logistics. And there are always all kinds of storing goods. If it's stored at the port, at the seaport, at the airport, in a traditional warehouse, if we need temperature controlled warehouses for cooling refrigerated goods, this can all have a big impact. And if we store chemical products related to the oil and gas industry, then we need to be very careful not to blow up our warehouse. So there can be very important management decisions involved. Of course, transportation and warehousing is included in a distribution system. This is why you wrote Mr. Tobias, nice. So this is why you wrote distribution system here. We have production operations or manufacturing operations. These are just two different words for the same concept. We have also the product development. So the way we develop our product has an impact on the logistics operations. If you develop a car and you choose very exotic or advanced parts for this car, then the number of your suppliers will become smaller than if you choose average components. And this will have an impact on your logistics decisions. Information processing, yes. We need to take care of the information. If we do the planning is a lot about having the right information. Different modes of transportation, train, seaport, and what else? Air transportation, yes. We need to think about the customer value. If we design a proper logistics system, how do we create value for our customer? Why should the customer choose us? What do we offer to the customer? Are we simply cheaper? Do we have a better service because maybe we allow tracking of the order to the customer? Maybe we are very good in delivering the things on time. These are things how we create customer value. Yeah, choosing the right location, also thinking about the marketing of the products. Yeah. All very, very relevant concepts and activities in designing logistics systems. Now, if we look at a more closed system, the airport is a very good example. We have a lot of logistics related activities in an airport or a seaport that need to be, we need to offer different logistics related activities, and they need to be connected very well so that the whole system is running smoothly. Okay, very nice exercise. I liked your answers. The hospital, yeah, the hospital. Of course, the hospital is also can be seen as a logistics system. Of course, the patient's welfare is the main goal of the hospital, but in order to help the patient, the logistics processes in the hospital need to run very smoothly. Oh, very nice. I liked your answers. Now, what I wanted to discuss before we talk about assessments and everything in this course, I wanted to discuss with you the course evaluation of the logistics management course. Remember, I think by the end of December, beginning of January, the university asked you to give feedback about the courses that were offered to you. And now, because you are the same students, or most of you already studied logistics management, I would like to share this feedback on the logistics management course with you and discuss it with you. So let me open the feedback file. It might be also interesting to see how I, as a course instructor, see this feedback. So let's go for this file. Because it's not so easy to deal with the feedback, and I'm not sure if students are always aware of this. So now you see the PDF file that gives an overview of the results for the logistics management course, right? You can see this. Yes. No? Yes, now it's coming. Okay, good. So this is a report that at the end of the day, the instructor sees. And we see here, this is for the course in the winter semester, Logistics Management, offered by me. And we have 16 students who participated in the survey and provided some feedback. So now, this is the first question. The design of the course and the course materials were useful in my learning. And you see 5 is typically the best answer, like it's, I strongly agree. And 1 is usually related to being unhappy, not helpful. So you see that 4 out of the 16 students, 25%, were not so happy with the course material, and 3 or 6 students in total were very happy with the course materials. So now you see And fortunately, no one selected the worst answer. So now what is the problem from the instructor point of view? It is somewhat unclear what is the issue with the course materials. Is it more on the slides? Is it more on the chosen books? Is it more on other handouts? And what's wrong with the slides? Or is something missing? Is there too much information? Can you not read it? So this gives only a very, very rough idea, but often as an instructor, you don't really know why are the students now unhappy. Though it's very difficult to make some changes, because often you are not really aware about many of the details. So I just want you to know this. What are the questions that I ask myself? And maybe when we meet on campus again, and there's something in this course that you don't like, you can give me immediate feedback, very specific feedback, and then it's easier to do something about it if that's possible. I just wanted to show you the answers and how we see it. This is just a chart for the same answers. Here, the second question. I was made aware of the learning outcomes and goals of this course. That's interesting. Most students had some idea about the learning outcomes, the learning goals of this course, but few students didn't know about the learning outcomes. So now again, what can be improved? Maybe for some students, they don't know what is the meaning of these learning outcomes. It's unclear to them, or how to deal with these learning outcomes. I just want to show you one of the older slides. Let me go to one of the older slides. So this is a slide from the logistics management course. And as an example, I don't do it for all the slides, but for many slides, here in the beginning of the slide set, we have the learning outcomes, and then several learning outcomes are stated here in the beginning. So now I don't know, is there a misunderstanding about these learning outcomes? Did the students not really see them? Were they not aware of this? On the other hand, I see that many students somehow were dealing with these. I hope it was useful. So again, it's not so clear why the students could not deal with these learning outcomes. Maybe they answered the question in a different spirit, and the problem was on a completely different level. This also can happen quickly. So sometimes it's not so easy to see what could be improved. So let's go to a next question. But in overall, I would say it looks quite fine, this distribution of answers. Tests, assignments, and other forms of assessments were relevant to what was taught. Question number 3. You see the opinion of the students are mostly think they were relevant for the assessments, but some also think they were not so relevant. This would be also good when the students discuss this among each other, if they think it's relevant or not. Sometimes the expectations are that the instructor should exactly discuss the question that will be asked in the final exam. This is something that I typically don't do, and an instructor at a university should not do this. So if this is the expectation, then I will not change about these things. On the other hand, if the instructor is talking to you about 3-4 hours about a certain concept, and in the final exam, something completely different is asked, then that's also not really the point how it should work. So, do you have any questions on these answers or comments? I mean, it's you can write something in the chat if you would like to know more or discuss something. I'm just sharing your answers. So this is somehow more easy to understand. Overall, I was happy with the course or not so happy. Yeah, you see, some were very happy, some were not happy. And let's say the majority was, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I can understand this. So how difficult was the course? From very difficult to very easy. In my opinion, when I compare it with other courses, I would say this type of course was average compared with other courses in the department. So if you find it easy, then very good. Yeah? But if you think it was too difficult, then you have to look into this a little bit more, why you felt it was too difficult. Because in my opinion, there will be many more courses that are way more difficult than this course. And now if you realize, oh, this type of stuff is not for me, now you can make changes, yeah, either by changing the way you prepare, by changing the way you learn, yeah, by setting different priorities. Now is the time in the first year. Yeah? Once you studied for 3-4 years, it becomes more and more difficult. So this is, from my point of view, I would say this is a medium difficult course. Yeah, and I think this is also what most of the students felt it was. But I'm sure there are many more courses that are much more difficult in our program. So for example, how do you compare it to microeconomics? I would expect that microeconomics is more difficult than logistics management. Is this something that you share as an opinion? Micro is more difficult than logistics management? Yes. Yeah, so microeconomics is typically a very difficult. Yes, microeconomics, this is usually one of the more challenging courses in the first year. So my first final exam in a course when I started studying was microeconomics, and I failed very badly because I somehow underestimated it completely, what it means to study. But then this was a good heads up for me to change my study behavior. So maybe for some of you, you can draw similar conclusions. Okay, do we have more answers? Time spent on the course. So this is an important category for me to learn what you liked about the course, because there are some free text answers. Yeah? Though I think this is something that you should make use when you give feedback in this official form. Try to add some of the things that you liked about this course. Then it's often more easier for me to draw conclusions from this one. In the same way, I think they also ask you what should be improved. Though these free text answers can become very, very helpful. So I think this fields, maybe there was some typo. I don't know what was meant with this field trips, maybe, I don't know. Complicated slides. Yeah, though here there should be maybe even more detailed. What is unclear, yeah? What is, and for me, it's always then difficult to see, okay, it's a single student. Now, did this single student have, is it a more something that is a problem of the individual students, or are several students thinking in a similar way? Yeah? That's difficult for me to judge. Yeah, then the tutorial, similar way, more responsive. In general, it was good the way you responded, because it was almost no personal attacks. So try to avoid any personal attacks. This will only discredit your feedback. If you're too rude, then it will not be helpful. People will not listen to this usually. The instructor stimulated my interest in the subject. Okay, maybe this could have been a little bit better. The instructor provided helpful and timely feedback on tests, assignments, and other forms of assessments. So, for example, this is something where most students said, yes, the feedback was timely. But then the other thing is, what I don't understand, why is it not in a timely manner? If the feedback was via Moodle, though the result is available immediately on the same day of the quiz. So this is, for example, something that I don't understand why it's considered not fast enough. This is then just unclear to me about these things. Or maybe the students are thinking of something else, but it's difficult to find out from the way the question is asked and the answers presented to me. The instructor effectively supported my learning in this course. 3.4 arithmetic mean. The tutorials were relevant to the learning outcomes of the course. In my opinion, they were very relevant because many questions in the tutorials were then also in a different way asked in the quizzes and the final exam. So I think the majority of the students saw it in a similar way and could benefit from the tutorial. And this is, for this course, Production Logistics and Transportation Management, we do not have official tutorials, but we will have also some similar questions, similar sessions where we have some exercises that we solve together. So it's not called tutorial, but it will work in a similar way. The tutorials were useful support for the subject matter. Yes, I agree with you. I'm happy that you see it in a similar way, because this was the intended design of the tutorials. And that's it. That's it from, this is how I see your feedback, how I get your feedback. You see, I don't know which student said what. And of course, I see if the feedback is reasonable, then I will listen to it easier. If I feel it's not so reasonable, maybe it will upset myself, or maybe I'm happy, but it's very difficult in general, I think, to make some very good conclusions from the feedback. So my suggestion is to, from time to time, talk to me after class and make suggestions yourself. Yeah? So if you give feedback, in particular in this, in general, directly to the instructor or via this course evaluation, and of course, if you give feedback to other professors in other courses, the same applies. So always remember that you write directly to your instructor, and if you are polite in the way you write, the people will listen to you. If you are too rude, then I guess the people will be unhappy for a short time, but it will not really motivate them to change a lot of things. Yeah? So always try to be very specific and constructive. For example, about the slides, about my slides now, what is the problem? There are too many formulas, not enough formulas, too much text, not enough text, or too many slides, not enough slides. The color is stupid. So the more specific you are, and always keep in mind, try to help improving the course. Yeah? And then the people will listen to you. Try to explain how something affected your personal way of learning. Yeah. So if you felt the person was rude, how did this impact on your learning behavior? If you think the slides were not so helpful, how did this impact your learning behavior? And always keep in mind, learning something is not always the same as the grades you get in the assessments. Of course, if you feel you learned a lot, it should be reflected somehow in the grades, but good grades on the one hand and learning something is not always directly connected. In particular, you can get a lot of good grades without learning anything. So keep this always in mind. And in my opinion, you should always put the focus on learning something new and not only on the grades. So if you put too many comments that are not really related to your learning, this will somehow discredit your feedback. Yeah, it will diminish the value of your feedback. And what you should avoid doing as a part of all the professional way of communicating is don't put any insults in these reviews. Yeah, that's not really helping anybody. I'm not talking about my course, but I know what sometimes students write for other courses. So that's not super helpful. If you would like to know a little bit more about this type of feedback, how it can help you improve the course, you can have a look at this link, but we will not discuss this link right now in this lecture. That's not necessary. But maybe this discussion helps you a little bit to understand how the instructors are seeing the course feedback, what the instructors might ask them about the feedback, and it might help you to understand how to give feedback in a more effective way, so that the learning can be improved for other students that follow you in that course. Okay, but that's enough now for the feedback. If you have questions, please ask. But I think it's fine. I'm checking the chat. Then let's have a look at the organizational issues of this course, Production Logistics and Transportation Management. Yeah, I see there's one question. It's also related to the organization. So Malak is asking if there are any tutorials for this course. So the course only consists of lectures, and usually we will meet 2 times a week. So we have 2 sessions a week, and we don't have official tutorials. You don't need to register for any tutorials on EduWave. But of course, in some of the lecture sessions, we will have some exercises to solve together, so that you have some experience as if it was a tutorial. I hope this answers your question, Malak. So we don't have official tutorials, but we will have some sessions that focus on doing solving exercises together. it's always good to have a look at the textbooks on which the course is based, to, on the one hand, practice your scientific English, on the other hand, to get some more details that are not discussed in every lecture. And I believe for this course, the most important textbook will be the first one from Namias and Olsen, Production and Operations Analysis. This textbook is available in our library, and you can borrow a copy from our library. The second textbook that I will use from time to time, I already used it in the previous logistics management course, is from Gleisner and Femerling. And we will again also make use of the operations management textbook from Reid and Sanders. So I try to provide you with some online copies, PDF files for this operations management textbook. But for this Namias textbook, it might be better to get a copy from the library. Unfortunately, we don't have a single textbook that we follow chapter by chapter for this course. So for every slide set that we discuss, there will be a different underlying textbook. Of course, it's not necessary to buy these textbooks, but I recommend making the copies, organizing the copies, and see what is published as a PDF on Moodle. So for logistics management, how often did you use the textbook to prepare yourself? How often did you have a look at the textbook? Be honest. Before the quizzes, yes. Yeah. And you didn't use the textbook. I tell you, use the textbook. Try to have a look at the textbook. Huh? Maybe you don't read everything, but try to get to practice this learning behavior. Yeah, that you add the textbook in addition to the slides. Yeah, to get the topics presented in a slightly different way, and that you start learning also how to use these books. This will be very helpful for you. Yeah? I'm not talking about logistics, but I'm talking about all the other stuff in your life. Yeah? So it is a good training, but I appreciate that you're honest and you say, I didn't use it all the time. Yeah? Or for example, before the quizzes. Of course, some of the textbooks, they have a lot of practice questions. Yeah, so this operations management textbook had a lot of example questions and example problems. And such a textbook can be a great way to prepare for the quizzes, of course. Yeah. But try to, for those who did not really use it in the past, try to make a change in your behavior and try to read a couple of pages in addition to the slides. And those of you who already used the textbook, try to use it even more, yeah? or more frequently. It will help you, and it will also help you for other courses. Okay. The assessments and the weighting. I will follow exactly the same setup that we used for the logistics management course. So again, I will offer to you 4 quizzes, and I will count the 3 best results that you achieve. So the quiz grade will be the average of the 3 best grades in your quizzes. I will cancel the worst outcome of your quiz. Yeah. But please keep in mind, if you miss a quiz for the quizzes, I will not offer a makeup or repeat quiz. Yeah, though there will be no sick leaves accepted for the quizzes. This is the same like it worked in logistics management, and I believe it was very, very smoothly. At least from my point of view, it was very smooth. And the weight of these 3 quizzes that count is 30% of the overall grade. And then we have a final exam, which is 70% of the overall grade. No, this is exactly the logistics management model. And again, what I really want to teach you, that you do not put too much effort in memorizing the slides, at least most of the slides, and that you put in a lot of effort in really understanding the concepts, understanding the math, and applying the concepts and applying the math to different problems. Sometimes memorizing is required to get a good start. If you learn a new language, for example, if you learn terminology in a concept, also sometimes to memorize the idea of a formula. But then, for example, the economic order quantity formula, you need to learn how to apply it, or the break-even formula, how to apply it in other contexts. Yeah? If you have your own business and you want to try to find out how many orders do you need to fulfill a month so that you break even, you need to be able to do this. Yeah? There's no value in just memorizing how I did it in the slides. The value comes from applying these formulas to other problems in the real world. And this is a tough learning process. And I hope that we can manage this learning process together. Yeah, then your knowledge will be much more useful for in your future jobs and to solve real world problems. Any questions to the assessments and the weighting? Very good. No additional questions. Yeah, though I think it will be very, very similar to logistics management. Yeah, I'm not planning any group works or something like this. Good. Then finally, we will use again Microsoft Teams. So please open your Microsoft Teams application and join this Teams group now. Yeah, I can show you how it works on the desktop. So if you go to the desktop application, and it should be shared now, my Microsoft Teams application. And you click on join or create team. And then you choose the option join a team with a code. And in this field, you copy the code that is highlighted in red here. It's not working. What's wrong? I'm already a member of the team. I hope this is the only reason. I hope this is the only reason. It's working. Very good. Very good. Whew. And I guess if on your phone, it's very similar. So I don't need to invite anyone. Though if your fellow students who could not participate today because maybe they have not finalized the registration, with RSA, please just tell them to use this code, then they can add themselves to the team. I don't need to invite them for this team. Let's see how many already joined. Okay, we have already 20 students who joined. Very good. This worked very well. So now, as a short reminder, this is called a channel, yeah, which is called here general. Yeah? A team can have one or more channels. And this is our main message window. And what is very nice that you can, unlike in WhatsApp, you can also reply here on my message. Then it's really a reply to this, what I was posting. So many of you use this already, but I believe not everyone is super familiar with this. So you can use these comments, these reactions. I hope you're not angry. And then if you have a question about the course, about the material, that the concept is somehow unclear, please feel free to write it here in the comments. Yeah? Usually, if a student has a question about the material, other students also have a similar question. Yeah, you are not the only one, and then I can prepare maybe a better, more detailed answer and make this answer available through the Teams channel for everyone. Yeah, very nice. So, and if it's something, let's say, very personal or affecting your individual quiz, for example, then you can also ask me in private. Yeah, but in general, this public channel for the course can be very helpful because the information is spread to more students, and this can help to increase the effectiveness of the communication. My suggestion is to restrict on your phone the notifications that you get from Microsoft Teams, that it's not always ringing, because this makes me mad. Usually I deactivate all these notifications completely, otherwise I cannot survive. So often if it's a personal message, it's better to contact me via email or in my office hours. Please don't use the chat function in Microsoft Teams, because then I have too many channels that I have to monitor, and usually I will miss something. So it's better than to use email. Okay, very nice. I think that's it for our first session. We discussed logistic systems, and this course is continues the education in logistics management, this time with special emphasis on transportation systems and production systems and how they interact. Again, we will focus on management activities. And yeah, what were the main management activities? If you recall, planning, organizing, controlling. These are main management activities. And of course, planning plays a very important role, preparing a system, setting it up for the future to run effective. And of course, again, we will deal with some quantitative models to make these decisions. Last semester, we had the decision tree, we had the economic order quantity, we had some warehouse inventory management related models. So we will continue roughly in this style to analyze and design logistics systems. I hope you will enjoy the course. I hope that you will learn something and take something away from this course. And maybe next week we can meet in person already. I'm not so sure about this at the moment. I think in the future we will have more and more courses on campus, but I'm not sure if we will switch already in the next week or if it will take more time. But we will meet on campus very soon. I'm sure of that. Thanks for joining today's session, and I wish you a good day. Have a good start in the semester. Bye-bye. You're welcome. You're welcome.